What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here with Ballard Sports Media, coming at you again today with another college football preview video. And up today, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. All right, so you look at last year for 2019, Notre Dame coming off, going into this season. Let me move that. You look at a team that's coming off the playoffs, losing by 27 points to Clemson, who went on to blow out Alabama. It still hurts. But you look at a team that's, when I look at a team like Notre Dame, first off, we know they don't have a conference. They need to get in one. People keep saying that. I keep saying that. It doesn't make sense to me why Notre Dame in basketball is in the ACC, yet in football they're an independent team. First off, what are there, like 6 independent teams? That's half a conference. You know what I mean? You look at teams like the Pac-12 and the Big 12, yeah, they probably have a little bit more than 12 teams. Big 10 has like 14 total. But I mean, they could qualify for a team in the Big 12. I mean, first off, now, and listen, there are other, as I just mentioned, independent teams in the FBS that make up 6 teams. I think Army, Navy, or I have to look, but FBS independent. Notre Dame, UConn, UMass, Liberty, BYU, Army, and New Mexico State. It's actually 7 teams, which is an odd number, but still, either way, Notre Dame should join a conference, and I don't get why it is like that with these teams, but it is what it is. Anyway, moving on past that, looking at last year's schedule for Notre Dame, open up on the road at Louisville, play the Cardinals in Kentucky, win that game 35-17. That was one of those games that not necessarily would have been a test for Notre Dame, but definitely for a team like Notre Dame, I think the first game of the year is always the kind of game for Notre Dame, like, are they a team to compete? Then you open with a bye week, which would have been the opening day, I think, for football season on September 7th. Actually, August 31st technically was when opening week was, opening weekend, I should say. Week 2, you get a bye week on September 7th. Come off that, home against New Mexico, blow them out 66-14. Go on the road at Georgia, who's a team up and coming with Kirby Smart. Love what he's done with the program. Of course, you probably saw my Georgia preview video, which, by the way, something weird was happening with it. It uploaded twice, then I deleted one, and it deleted it altogether. I don't know what it was, but anyway, you lose at Georgia by 6 points. It was a really close game. Of course, that was the second part of a home-and-home you schedule with them. You played them in 2017, which you look back at that game. Let me see. That was at home. You only lose by a point. I think was one of those games that kind of put Georgia on the map, going to Ireland, or not necessarily Ireland. I mean, what am I doing? Notre Dame, although they are the Fighting Irish, so I could see where I've got that mixed up. But you lose at Georgia, then you win 3 straight. Virginia, Bowling Green, and USC. Cupcake teams if you're Notre Dame. Bowling Green is a nobody team. You could beat them. Virginia in the ACC, still kind of a nobody team. Have a couple good players that you look at as NFL prospects, but that's pretty much it. You beat them by 15 points. Shut out Bowling Green. win by a field goal against USC. Then you have a bye week at Michigan. You lose 45-14 on the road in Ann Arbor. They're pretty good at home. And then you win the last 5 games of the season. Make the Camping World Bowl in Orlando. Camping World Stadium against Iowa State. You beat them 33-9, pretty handily. So I guess you started off with a good win. You end it with a good bowl win. The 2 losses at Michigan and at Georgia, those are pretty good losses. Those are 2 really good programs that can compete for the playoffs. Of course, Michigan, their problem is they can't get past Ohio State. More on that in a Michigan preview video pretty soon. Georgia's an up-and-coming team with Kirby Smart, and he's brought over what he did with the defense in Tuscaloosa at Alabama for a few years. So when you look at it like that, some good losses for Notre Dame. Now moving on, getting into the 2020 season. Open it up with Navy on August 29th. Practically call that week 0 as everyone else starts on September 5th. Let's see, yeah. So you could call that the week 0 of this year. Of course, I think it was last year we had the Florida-Miami game for the 150th anniversary. So you start home against Navy, although this is saying, or actually, no, I'm sorry, this isn't a home game. I really messed that up, but this is in Dublin, Ireland. Dublin, I don't know, someone let me know how you pronounce it. So you start off with a game against Navy, neutral site game. Bye week, home against Arkansas, home against Western Michigan, play Wake Forest on the road at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where they're located, I believe. Go to Wisconsin, home against Stanford, at Pitt, bye week, play Duke, play Clemson on November 7th at home. That's going to be a game everyone should keep their eye on. At Georgia Tech, home against Louisville, and at USC on rivalry weekend. So when I look at this, I think they're a better team than Navy. Although Navy was ranked last year, I think they ended up going 10-2 in the regular season or 9-3. A pretty good record. I'm pretty sure, didn't they win the Army-Navy game last year? I can double check. Let's see here. Yeah, they won that 31-7 over a Army team that went 5-8. I guess what is that? Technically 5-7, whatever. But so they won that pretty handily, and but I think Notre Dame's a far better team than Navy. This could be a trap game. Navy could do something with this game here in Ireland that could maybe put them on the map. I don't know if I want to say something about putting Navy on the map. Come on, but it would be a good win for Navy just for the football program. We'll see what happens. Bye week, Arkansas should have no problem there. Western Michigan comes to town, no problem. I think they're a far better team than Wake Forest. I don't care where you play them. Wake Forest is terrible. You should have no problem there. At Wisconsin, that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure what to make of Wisconsin. I think I said something about that in like the Penn State, the Ohio State. Basically, the past couple Big Ten teams I've done that have had Wisconsin, I don't know what to make of Wisconsin. They were in playoff contention a couple years ago, fighting for that 4th spot. Had they won the Big Ten, they would have got in the playoffs, along with other teams like Oklahoma and Georgia and Clemson. They would have been facing Clemson, I think, but they lost that game. Thanks a lot for that. Alabama got in. But ever since that, they've kind of taken a downfall. I don't know what to make of that. I think they could beat Stanford. I think that Notre Dame could be a good enough team. They win all their home games. Home against Arkansas, home against Duke, home against Louisville. Should have no problem there. Beat them on the road pretty well last year. Let's see. Stanford should be no problem. At Pitt, this gets interesting. Pitt always finds a way to beat a team that they probably shouldn't. I don't know. Pitt always finds a way to upset someone at home, or if they're lucky enough on the road. I could see Notre Dame maybe struggling a bit in this game. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. But you get a bye week after that. You play Duke and you play Clemson. The Clemson game is the game to keep your eye on. I mentioned all the teams. I'm bouncing around a little bit. I don't know. But let's see. I think for Notre Dame overall, let's see. I think they beat Navy, come off a bye week, what will be technically week 2. For them, it's the 3rd week of the season, though. You play Arkansas and Western Michigan. I think you go on a 3-0 run right there. Against Wake Forest, you're far better than them. Should be no problem. Wisconsin, again, has taken a hit. I can see you beating them. That's 5 games right there. Stanford comes to town in Notre Dame. Should be no problem there. And then you're at Pitt. That's where I don't know what to make of it. Because Pitt always, again, seems to beat a team that they probably shouldn't. That's what I've heard. I think they beat Clemson a few years ago at home. We'll have to see what happens with this game. I'm going to take... I think Notre Dame would be favored in this game. I'll go with the underdog. I feel like after a few home or neutral site games, kind of cupcakes for Notre Dame, they probably lose their way a little bit. I'm going to give that game to Pitt at home. If this were a home game for Notre Dame, I'd give it to Notre Dame. But this is in Pittsburgh, so we'll see what happens there. A bye week, then you play Duke at home. Should be no problem. Duke's terrible. Bama beat them in the opener last year. What we beat them like 41-10 or something like that. So they'll win that game. Clemson comes to town. That's going to be a good game to watch. Take Clemson. They're going to be a favorite. I don't care where it's played. Clemson's a way better program. They just beat Notre Dame a couple years ago, 30-3 in the Cotton Bowl. So I would expect Clemson to win this game. At Georgia Tech in Atlanta, Georgia Tech's terrible. Should have no problem there. You get Louisville at home. That's a win. And then at USC. USC, I think, is their rival on rivalry weekend every year. Let me see what recent history shows. No, it wasn't rivalry weekend last year. You played them on October 12th, and you beat them by a field goal. It was so close. USC had a chance to win. This was in Notre Dame. 2018, you beat them by a touchdown on the road. So it has been super close between Notre Dame and USC in recent years. What to make of this game? I don't know. Now, had Bryce Young chosen USC over Bama, I probably would be picking USC, but I don't know. I'm going to go with my gut here and say, yeah, I'll give it to Notre Dame. I'll give it to them. So when you look at that, with that being said, all this predictions and stuff, my prediction for Notre Dame in 2020 will be, let me try to remember. Hold on. They'll lose to Clemson. let's see. I have a feeling they'll go 10-2, and they lose to Pitt and Clemson. I think both will be probably pretty close games. I think Clemson might win that game late. Again, this is a home game for Notre Dame. The Pitt game is on the road. If that were at home, I'd pick Notre Dame, but Pitt always finds a way to beat a team they should not beat. They always find a way to upset people at home. So a 10-2 record for Notre Dame in 2020 is going to be a good season. Could they go 11-1? I think they could easily beat Pitt, but at the same time, I don't want to be sitting here, saying Pitt's a bad team and they don't stand a chance against Notre Dame, and then somehow on October 17th, 2020, Notre Dame loses this game, and you guys play this back, call me out, and tell me how wrong I was. I don't want to deal with all that, but so I'm gonna pick Pitt there. But again, I'm not downing Notre Dame. I just have a feeling that this is the game of the year for Pitt to win, and Pittsburgh will win the game against Notre Dame, and that's the one game they should not win. Because they always seem to do that. Pitt always pulls an upset they should not pull. So it could be the Notre Dame game this year. So with that, 10-2 season for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and Brian Kelly. So that's my Notre Dame prediction. Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans, comment down below, tell me why I'm wrong. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button. Really would appreciate it. Comments always appreciated as well. 10-2, 11-1, something like that. I don't care where the Clemson game is. Clemson, again, far better team. They're going to lose that game, and I have them also losing against Pitt. We will see what happens. Maybe they prove me wrong and somehow, by some miracle, win both of those games. But it is what it is, and that's what I have. So 10-2 for the Irish. Again, that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, Ballard Sports Media checking out. Y'all have a good day.